Please note that this content is for adults only. Viewer discretion advised. If you haven't yet, hit the subscribe, like, and share. Hello everyone and welcome back to another live stream with me, Grizzly. This is Grizzly True Crime, and today our case takes us to Florida. I don't know if you guys remember, I covered a case with also involving a plastic surgeon in Florida, but that was like a year ago. So this one is about a plastic surgeon in Florida who's been charged with his wife's death. So we're going to go over what I really want to get to is the arrest affidavit, because it's got a lot of details in of what really happened on that day, on November 21st of 2023. But I'm quickly going to read an article so that we could just at least have a little bit of a feel for the case before we get into that, because it's like document time, right? So, okay, hold on one second. Let me fetch it. Welcome to all my moderators. Thank you so much for everything you do. Welcome to all my patrons, members, subscribers, any locals in chat. Thank you all for being here. Please like and share so that others can also find that we are live right now. Okay, also, I don't want to miss this comment. Wait for it 1 second. Oh no, I'm scrolling up. I'm going to miss it. I only emerge after dark. Okay, let me try to say what you said. There we go. You said, I thought it was defined as unethical for doctors to operate on close relatives. My brother was a dentist and he said that it would be unethical for him to treat me. I was glad to learn that. So I don't know if it differs per state, but in Florida, it's not against the law to operate on one's own family members. Like what? Because this plastic surgeon was operating on his wife. So one would think, well, that's illegal, but apparently it's not illegal in Florida. It's just frowned upon. Like, oh my goodness. But yeah, it sounds like there's a lot of skeletons in this plastic surgeon's closet because many other patients are coming forward now. There's actual legal documents for this as well. There's just very long. We'll be here all day if we had to go through all of that. But I read through that and there's horror stories of what he's done. Okay. Mrs. Melissa, thanks for being a member for 19 months. I'll quickly show you what he looks like. Let's put this over here. Mugshot time, huh? So we're looking at Dr. Ben Brown from Pensacola, Florida, and his wife, Hilary Brown. And he had 2 children from a previous marriage, and she had 3 children of her own. So they'd only been dating since 2021 or so. They weren't together for very long. And to think that this happened, it's really scary. And to see her transformation, her physical transformation, I just worry that, he'd be saying, change this, do that, do this. I'm speculating. Melissa Loves True Crime says, look, I'm a 9-month-old grizzly cub now. Thank you guys for such compassionate and ethical coverage. You are the GOAT. Oh, thank you so, so much. Okay, so I'm going to put this here quickly. So they say the parents and friends of the late Hilary Ellington Brown, it's such a beautiful name, are not only mourning her loss, but questioning how her tragic death following a plastic surgery procedure could have happened in the first place. Hilary's plastic surgeon, her husband, Ben Brown, oh dear, okay, called Marty and Dixie Ellington 2 weeks ago, telling them to get here as fast as you can because their daughter was in the hospital. They left their home in Conroe, Texas, and hurried to Florida, where Hilary lived in Gulf Breeze with Brown and her 3 young children from a previous marriage. The Ellingtons arrived to find the 33-year-old, she was only 33. He is 41. To find the 33-year-old in a coma with brain swelling so severe from lack of oxygen that she was unable to recover. On November 28th of 2023, Hilary was removed from life support and her organs were donated. Oh my word, shame. 877 Swiss Miss, thank you so much for our new berry inhabitant. Thank you so much, really appreciate that. Okay, so this is just so scary that he was performing this on her. And when you hear about all the other botched ones, there's other patients that have said they went in for a brow lift and they came out with a full butt lift. And they're like, what the hell is this? I didn't ask for this. Okay, so again, Hilary's plastic surgeon and her husband. Right. And so shame, man. She was taken off life support November 28th of 2023 and her organs were donated. Ellington was devastated and in shock that their beautiful, vibrant daughter, known for being full of fire and energy since she was a girl, was fine one day and dead a week later. We want answers, said Marty Ellington. And I've got some clips of him that I'm going to show you later as well. An engineer with a successful electrical business. That's her dad. We haven't been given answers. If it's a mistake, it was a mistake. But it doesn't bring my daughter back, you know. I don't want his money. I don't want anything. All I want is an answer because I think that we owe that to my daughter. Now, how did Hilary die? Okay, so this is just like a warm-up before we get to the arrest affidavit. Thank you, Phoebe, for being a member for 5 months. According to Ellington, Ben Brown told them that he'd been performing several procedures on Hilary in his office late in the afternoon of November 21st of 2023, when she suddenly went into cardiac arrest. In a social media post from November 24th, Brown wrote about his wife's coma. We need prayers for a miracle. Hilary had a cardiac arrest on Tuesday afternoon, Brown wrote. We called 911 and started CPR. But let me give you a spoiler. He waited 20 minutes to call 911, even though his wife was having seizures and went into a coma. When other nursing staff said, like, should we call 911? He said, no, we'll handle it. Don't call 911. They were getting really worried. One actually had to like sneak out and go and call 911. That is so scary. So even though, you know, she was having seizures and could have died right then and there, he said, wait, let's not call 911 quite yet. Okay, that is a red flag. So even though some people might argue that this might just be, I don't know what, malpractice, a mistake, when you look at everything, all the other botched procedures with other patients, and then you think about what happened here, and then you hear that her dad said that she wanted to leave him. Well, we know that's a red flag. Right. The most dangerous time is to leave if one is with, for example, someone very controlling, which we don't know that about him. I'm just speculating. If she was going to leave and then the next minute she died, I don't know. It seems like patterns that we've seen before. Lori, thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Okay. So Yoda Mama said, my friend of mine in high school's father was a plastic surgeon and his wife died while he was performing surgery on her. He lost his license in Oklahoma. And Ms. Marple said in the UK, it is illegal for a doctor to prescribe medicine or carry out an operation on a family member. Yeah, so it differs country to country as well, right? So he actually posted that, you know what I mean? He's like, we called 911 and started CPR. No, you didn't. Okay, her heart came back, but her brain is not doing well. She's been in a coma since she went unconscious on Tuesday. Hilary Ellington Brown, you are my soulmate, my world, my everything. Please come back, please. Dude, then why'd you wait 20 minutes? That's just very, very bad. Thank you, Kelly D. And Steel Guitar says, a proud Grizzly for 11 months. Thanks all for being the best channel, hands down. Thank you so much. That is so sweet. So, the post was accompanied by a praying hands emoji and dozens of pictures of Hilary Brown, some with her husband, others with her children. In one picture of Hilary with her dog, Brown drew a heart around his wife's face with an arrow pointing to one of her breasts. Tasteful, given the situation. According to a Santa Rosa County Sheriff's Office incident report, Brown called 911 from his Restore Plastic Surgery office in the Tiger Point area of Gulf Breeze around 4:15 p.m. on November 21st. The call notes state that there was a female in cardiac arrest. Dr. POSS, over-medicated patient. Okay, I interviewed the medical technician, name redacted, who advised the patient is Hilary E. Rogers Brown, who is currently Dr. Brown's spouse, a deputy wrote. Hilary Brown was in the process of several surgical procedures when she experienced several seizures and then went into cardiac arrest. The Santa Rosa Sheriff's Office Major Crimes Unit and the District 1 Medical Examiner are now investigating Hilary's death. The Sheriff's Office released a statement about the case Tuesday. So the first thing they did was suspend his license, right? They actually said that he can operate at a hospital under supervision, but then he was finally arrested, charged, and now he's out on bond, a $50,000 bond. Oh dear. They better keep an eye on him. Lissy Love said, thanks you for being the very best in true crime, a safe space for victims and their families for all your hard work. Keep being amazing. Thank you so much. So they said, in accordance with our policies and procedures, SRSO investigators frequently conduct death investigations when the death was unexpected or the death occurs under unusual circumstances, the statement read. The cause and manner of death is pending the receipt of the autopsy protocol from the District 1 Medical Examiner's Office. The autopsy protocol typically takes several months as it's usually dependent on extensive lab and toxicology tests, as well as the information gathered by our major crime detectives concerning the circumstances of the death. Ellington has a lot of questions about his daughter's death, including what drug she was given before the procedure. We're going to learn more about this in the arrest warrant, as I say, so just relax. We're getting to it. I just want to make sure you understand some of the story already. So he said that the medicine they usually use, they were out of, so he used something different. And apparently he did. He was mixing something up in a bowl rather than putting stuff in an IV bag. It sounds like a very bad day at his practice. Like, what was he doing? It sounds scary and a little bit premeditated, but I'm just speculating. He also wants to know why there wasn't a crash cart which holds life-saving equipment like oxygen and defibrillators at the office, along with properly trained medical staff who could have helped. That's her dad saying that. With the amount of swelling in her brain, that means her brain suffered from lack of oxygen for quite some time, Ellington said. That's telling me that when you got not an EMT, not a nurse, not even a doctor, but a surgeon who wasn't skilled enough in CPR, that he could keep her oxygenated and keep oxygen to her brain until the EMT can get there. That just floors me that he falls out and they can't keep adequate oxygen in her. Had that simple task of giving her oxygen been done, she's still been with us. Now, there's other patients that have come forward, as I say, some even on YouTube, and they're talking about how scary it was there. Just the experience and that they could feel like something is not right here. Apparently, Dr. Ben Brown's wife, stitched herself up. Apparently, she was helping out with some of the operations, even though she wasn't qualified to do so at all. It's very scary. Okay, Nature Girl said, I work in the operating room and this kind of shenanigans does not happen if you're working at a legitimate place of business. Good point as well. So it's one of these that's, I don't even know what to call it because I'd be speculating. Seemed like an entitled baby boy a little bit because his parents made a statement and saying, things are being grossly misrepresented and all of that kind of stuff. His dad is also a plastic surgeon and he had his own practice, So I don't know who was really monitoring that. I'm not too sure, right? Donna says, sounds like a no-brainer, just my opinion. Well, they better keep an eye on him. They better keep an eye on him because he's out on bond, as I say. Hello to Joe Jackalone. I see Joe Jackalone's in the chat. The messages are just flying by. Hold on one second. If you guys haven't checked out, there we go. Joe Jackalone's channel, go and check it out. I'm often there in chat as well, especially for roll call, which for me would be like in the afternoons. It's morning times for most. So retired NYPD sergeant, professor, author. He's been on the show many times. Go and check him out. Thank you for being here. Okay, so here they say, trouble at home and restore plastic surgery office. Ben and Hilary Brown. Now, this is from the Pensacola Journal, and it's one of the only sources I really found where everyone quotes this journal for when they started dating, because I wanted to know that. When did they meet? Right? So let me just switch to another picture quickly. I've got another one, actually. There we go. I just want to show you this quickly. So she's got 3 kids of her own, and he's got 2 kids. Okay? They were both married before. And I've just blurred out their faces. Some of these articles show pictures, though, but I always do my best to blur them out, right? But just look at the transformation, right? From the left to the right, even. She went through a lot of procedures there since she met him, Jamie says she was assisting in her own surgery. Yes, she was. That day, she even prepared her own IV bags. It sounds really terrible. This is really beyond malpractice. I've seen some clips where people say, this would be the difference between malpractice and just something way more sinister. So Ben and Hilary Brown started dating in 2021, according to his social media, and they married in June of 2022. She has 3 young children, ages 4 to 8, now without a mother, from a previous marriage, and he has 2 sons. Ellington said that Hilary, that's her dad, right, said that Hilary and Brown had a volatile relationship that sometimes blew hot and then cold, but for the most part, Hilary enjoyed their life together, especially having her husband regularly perform plastic surgery procedures on her face and body. Oh no, it's like she became his own personal experiment, right? She was gorgeous. We kept telling her, why are you doing this? Ellington said of their conversations. She would tell him, well, because so-and-so had it done and I want it done. Yeah, but you're already naturally beautiful, her dad said. You don't even look the same. But I guess once you get into that lifestyle, it captures you. He didn't think that lifestyle would kill her. Hilary's father and friends said that there had been indications that Brown was unhappy in her marriage, but that she was reluctant to leave and wanted to make their relationship work. In March, SRSO responded to a call at the couple's waterfront home in Tiger Point Village in reference to a suicide. I said the word that's going to make YouTube say, oh dear. According to the report, Brown told Dispatch that his wife was barely conscious and still unresponsive due to self-medication with an unknown amount of valium. I really worry about this guy, I really do. Okay, the deputy reported that Hilary admitted to taking valium, but denied wanting to hurt herself, saying she wanted her husband to know that she was serious. Hilary was evaluated by EMS and released without treatment, but the officer determined Hilary met the criteria for Baker Act and she was taken to the hospital for evaluation. Ellington and Hilary's friends say that she was a loving, devoted mother who didn't want to put her children through another divorce, but she was not one to back down from a challenge, even when they said that she sometimes struggled with the intense relationship that she had with Brown. So we are hearing hot and cold, intense, all these types of things. Sometimes one might say the word toxic. And then Laura Richards teaches that the word toxic it's just really another word for abuse. So what was really going on there? What was going on? Regina, also, you say life insurance? I was also wondering about that. Also wondering about this life insurance. Haven't found that yet. And there's a lot to go through in this case, actually. So we're really just starting the conversation, and we'll see as we go. I think he's back in court on July 11th. So Dr. Ben Brown, well, I hope so. He better show, right? He better show. Now, Dr. Ben Brown faced history of complaints, including a time before when his wife on his table went unconscious. I wonder if she knew about that. I don't know if she knew, because apparently him and some of the staff were like, oh my word, they couldn't wake her up. And eventually she did wake up. But that was already a big red flag. Okay, so Brown has faced a number of complaints and allegations of botched procedures. It's like everyone's worst nightmare with this stuff, right? There's an ongoing medical malpractice lawsuit pending against him for negligence. The plaintiff alleged that she suffered a serious infection and debilitating complications after Brown used foreign materials during a breast reconstruction surgery without her consent. Numerous other women have come forward to the News Journal with similar complaints, both on and off the record. According to Brown's practitioner profile on the Florida Department of Health's website, his license is clear and active and says he has not had any final disciplinary action taken against him within the last 10 years by a licensing agency. The News Journal reached out to Brown and the Florida Department of Health for comment, but messages have not been returned. According to the Santa Rosa Sheriff's Office, deputies responded to a welfare check at Brown's home on December 2nd, and he was determined to be okay. In the meantime, Marty Ellington and his wife are preparing to lay their daughter to rest. There will be a memorial service for her locally as well as in Oxford, Mississippi, where the family is originally from, and Hilary's children will live with their father. Okay. The family is focused on comforting Hilary's children, but they are also thankful for the support that their daughter received from the Gulf Breeze community. I want to thank everybody for fighting for her, said Ellington. The problem I have is I don't get answers for the rest of their life. I've got friends and family and their children asking me why. Because I'm the father. I'm supposed to have an answer, and I can't get anybody to give me an answer. Okay, I just want to skip this so we don't show the picture there. While I'm doing that, let me just see the date that this was published again. It was a bit of an older article where they talk about the background. I just, of course she's been laid to rest already. Wait, I just want to skip this picture. Hold on one second again. Just want to show the kids, Okay, here's another picture of her. So beautiful. And as her dad said, she was already so naturally beautiful, but it seems like she had a lot of procedures done by him. Jean says this guy is a huge red flag. Right? Okay. So there's another picture with her child. Just hold on one second. And that's it. Okay. So now I want to show you, before we get to that, let's make sure we've got this here. I want him to introduce himself to you because he says it just everything you'd want to know about him. He's just going to tell you right here. This is him. Okay. So let's play this. I hope it's loud enough for you. If not, I'll boost it.
I'm Dr. Ben Brown. I'm a board-certified plastic surgeon in Pensacola, Florida at Restore Plastic Surgery. My family and I love living in Pensacola, Florida. When I was in college at Tulane University, my girlfriend at the time, now my wife, and I would come over to Pensacola to visit the beautiful beaches and enjoy the water. When we would visit Pensacola, we always said that when I was done with all this training, we would settle down in Pensacola and make it our home, and that is what we have done. We've enjoyed living in Pensacola since we moved there in 2015. It's the most beautiful city we've ever lived in, and we just can't get enough of the beautiful beaches and the water. We've also really enjoyed meeting all the wonderful people in Pensacola. It is such a beautiful, thriving city with such great people, and we couldn't be happier living in Pensacola, Florida. My oldest son, Jacob, was diagnosed with autism when he was 3 years old. So in Pensacola, my wife and I are very active with the various autism organizations in supporting children and family with autism and special needs. My family and I have a strong history of
So he's talking about his first marriage based on the time when this was published.
Volunteering, and that's what inspired me to become a physician. When I was a child, I would travel to Honduras with my father, who's a family physician, and perform medical missions or go on medical missions in rural areas of Honduras. Not only did I get to spend time with my dad, but it inspired me to become a physician as I grew up as well. When I was in medical school, I continued to go on these missions to Honduras with my father. And then when I was a plastic surgery resident at Georgetown, I was able to go on Operation Smile missions to India, which was also very rewarding. I finished my undergraduate degree in cell and molecular biology at Tulane University, and when I graduated valedictorian of my medical school in 2005. I then went to medical school at the University of Texas in Dallas and graduated in 2009. I then started my plastic surgery training at Georgetown, which finished in 2015. My co-residents gave me a standing ovation when I received the Outstanding Resident Teacher Award for the third year in a row. And then we moved to Pensacola and started a practice.
Oh my. All these people that applauded him and his dad and everyone, I wonder what they're thinking now. All right?
So currently I have the plastic surgery practice that I always dreamed of. I have a practice that consists of breast reconstruction, cosmetic breast and body contouring surgery, and facial rejuvenation. What makes my practice unique is the customized and sophisticated approach that I take to every patient's problem. So I was fortunate enough.
I have to pause it there. Customized approach. Oh, well, clearly, and especially when you hear the arrest warrant. Okay, so pay attention to that.
Approach that I take to every patient's problem.
Here we go.
Reconstruction, cosmetic breast and body contouring surgery, and facial rejuvenation. What makes my practice unique is the customized and sophisticated approach that I take to every patient's problem. So I was fortunate enough to train at a 6-year integrated plastic surgery program, which gave me a lot of experience and exposure to plastic surgery and all the different techniques and approaches within plastic surgery. So when a patient comes to me with a problem or a concern, we are usually able to address it using a combination of different techniques and approaches that best fits their anatomy and their time to recover and their budget. I'm Dr. Ben Brown. I'm a board-certified plastic surgeon in Pensacola, Florida.
Not anymore.
I love what I do. I have the best job in the world. Nothing is more rewarding than solving patients' problems, be it reconstructive or cosmetic. If there's anything we can do for you or you have any questions, please give us a call. Our phone number is 850.
No. Don't call that, guys. Don't you call that number. The practice is now closed. Also, treat children. I said kids with dad horrible. No, with the biological dad of her children, which isn't him. It's not him. Remember, she was married before and he was married before. So she had 3 kids between the age of 4 and 8. He has 2 sons. All right? Yeah, Pernil. I was waiting to see if someone says that. You say using his autistic son as a promo. It's pretty bad, right? It's pretty bad that. Okay, there's so much that I want to show you. I don't even know where to start. It's one of those where you're just like, oh my word, let's look at everything. Let's just look at everything and then we're going to dive into that arrest warrant. Okay, look, I wanted to show you the walk here. He turned himself in. He's a really good guy, you guys. Turned himself in. Okay, here we go.
Slaughter by culpable negligence. The sheriff's office sharing this video showing Dr. Brown being led through the office in handcuffs. His wife's death has been under investigation by the Major Crimes Unit in Santa Rosa County since last November. That's when Hilary Brown started seizing while she was undergoing several procedures. Her husband, the doctor performing those surgeries. Sade Ray joins us live outside the Santa Rosa County Sheriff's Office. Sade, Dr. Ben Brown made his first appearance in court this afternoon.
Karis, he did. He was in court in his...
Pause. Let's quickly see the exact date of this one. It was 6 days ago, so this was June 17th of 2024.
Street clothes. He's now in jail tonight on a $50,000 bond. The newest report from the sheriff's office indicates Hilary Brown was undergoing several surgeries, including scar revision, liposuction, eye adjustments, and lip injections when something went wrong. The report says employees told investigators there was no emergency equipment in the surgery room. In the report, employees said she was alert and conscious during the first 2 procedures. Sheriff Johnson says Dr. Brown ran out of lidocaine. He says issues started when the doctor administered other medicines.
He ran out of lidocaine in one, I guess, IV bag, and he ran out of it and then mixed some other stuff in a bowl and then pulled it out with a syringe and then injected her with it. And then she began to seize, and then the real problem was she began to seize, and then the nurses in the room wanted to call 911, and he said, no, we'll handle it. And obviously they did not handle it, and she ended up passing away.
The judge set the court date for July 11th. Tonight at 5, you'll hear from the sheriff on why it took several months before being...
Guess why? Okay, so July 11th, mark your calendars, everyone. That's the next time he's going to be in court. Now, I do have more clips to show you, but I now first want to bring in... So he's been charged with culpable negligence by the killing of a human being, Hilary Ellington Brown, without lawful justification under Chapter 776 of FSS, this to wit. Okay. So someone is also asking, do we have any before pictures of her? I do have some, like from her Facebook, but she looks so different. Like she had very, very blonde hair. This is the best I could find of where I would say she's her most like natural self. And that's why I showed it side by side, because this is her. And then in the middle is also her. It's just such a transformation since she met him, you know, which she looks beautiful in all the pictures. I just worry about him kind of using her as his own like Barbie doll. You know what I mean? I don't like that. I don't like that. Imagine if it is, I'm speculating, pure speculation. Imagine if he's quite a narcissistic type and he's like, you need to improve this, and this. Never mind chipping away at someone's self-worth, but then actually operating on them yourself, molding them, sculpting them how you want to sculpt them. Oh my word, that sounds so scary. Okay, so on 11/21 of 2023, patrol deputies with the Santa Rosa County Sheriff's Office responded to, so this all happened in Pensacola, Florida, right? That's redacted, in reference to a medical emergency. Upon their arrival, firefighters from Midway Fire Department were actively working a cardiac arrest patient, identified as the victim, Hilary Ellington Brown. Soon after, lifeguard paramedics arrived and transported the victim to an emergency room in Navarre, Florida. I think I said Navarre right now, didn't I? Did I say it right? Navarre, okay. Once at the emergency room, she was stabilized and later transported to the intensive care unit at Sacred Heart Medical Center, where she remained on life support, never regaining consciousness until her death on 11/28 of 2023. So this all happened on the 21st of November of 2023, and she actually said to her husband, we're going to get to it, that she was seeing orange, her vision was blurry, and then she had a seizure, then she went into a coma. And he was still like, just wait, just like 20 minutes. He waited 20 minutes before anyone was allowed to call 911. In fact, he didn't want them to call 911. And so she went into a coma, never regained consciousness, and then she died on the 28th of November of 2023. So about a week later. So after her passing on 11/30/2023, the District 1 medical examiner, Dr. Diana Olesk, MD, obtained custody of the victim for an autopsy. This was also the same time that this case was assigned to your Affian for follow-up. Your Affian was then advised about possible suspicious circumstances surrounding the victim's death. Now, I don't know why this is from, these are court documents from the state there, from the county, and they say unofficial. It says like unofficial document on it. I don't know why the watermark is there like that, but okay, we've got the narrative, though. We've got the document. Just watermarked it for anyone noticing that. Like, what the hell? Okay, I don't know. I don't have the answer. But they say, so I'm so glad that they did this autopsy, properly. We say that because in some that we've seen, like at the Daniel Howard trial with Kendi Howard. Remember, initially they're like, oh, her death was undetermined. So it's good when they do the autopsy and they say, look, man, there's something suspicious going on here. We need to look into this. Okay. So after reviewing the initial report taken by deputies, your affiant noted several statements made by the staff of this practice. 1. The victim is Benjamin Brown's wife. The victim was having multiple surgical procedures performed at one time. 3. The victim is undergoing other procedures. No, the victim, after undergoing other procedures, was receiving injections of lidocaine to parts of her face when she began to convulse and began to have a seizure. Your affiant learned that several employees of this practice were on duty at the time of this incident. So I just pause every now and then we carry on. To think that he mixed in a bowl more lidocaine, a concentrated version of it apparently, and then injected into her face. Ooh, it's just so sinister. It's like, I don't know, man, to just be like, oh, whoops, it was a mistake. I don't know if I believe that at all. Okay. Emergency me, thank you so much. So after reviewing the... Okay, wait, we did that. Your affiant spoke to one of the employees via recorded phone interview. They must have been so scared. This employee, prior to this interview, had contacted your affiant and expressed concern over the events that occurred on 11/21/2023. This employee began by stating that she had only worked for the business for a few days before this occurred. In that short time, she expressed that there was a lot of negligence in the office that led to Hilary's death. She stated that prior to the surgery, the victim took a plethora of pills. However, she was unaware what they were. She stated the victim had prepared her own IV bags, which were supposed to contain diluted xylocaine, which was being used as a local anesthetic. So apparently her husband said, hey, you prepare the baggies, you bring them in, and then I'll perform the procedure. So that's already, it's a red flag. Okay. I know there's lots of red flags in this case, of course. That's why the guy is charged. Okay, I'm just saying, like, whoa. So she took a handful of, like, colorful pills, they say, including valium. And then she also had to prepare her own IV bags, which were supposed to contain diluted xylocaine, which was being used as. So I don't know if this is, like, common practice. If there's doctors in the chat, please let us know. So then they say during the surgery, the IV bags ran out, at which time Brown, Dr. Benjamin Brown, poured 2 containers into a bowl. He didn't dilute them or anything and began to inject her arms and later her face. When he did this, Hilary began to say that her vision was blurry. She said her face was really puffy, but Brown continued. She stated that she thought that was a sign that she was overdosing. That's what now the person they're interviewing, right? She thought this was a sign that she was overdosing, and this was when she began convulsing. Now, do you think that meant, ooh, emergency? Not for him. Everyone else was starting to get really worried. It was at this point the victim was suffering a medical emergency. This employee stated that Brown was asked if they should call 911 several times, but he wanted to try and do it himself. But he doesn't even have the equipment there to save her life. Right? Schoolie mom says, why negligent homicide? He mixed stuff up in a bowl and gave it to her. He didn't, sorry, wait, your comment, he didn't want to call 911. How is this not intentional homicide? The whole thing is suspicious. Yeah, I know, right? They go for what they can prosecute. Let's see what happens with this case. But it's quite something. So he wanted to try and do it himself. She said that he was asked 4 or 5 times by several staff members, not just one, several staff members, but he continued to tell them to wait. She stated that there was no oxygen in the room and no EKG to monitor her heart. She said there was nothing that they could have done and 911 should have been called. She stated this lasted for 10 to 15 minutes before 911 was eventually called by another employee and not at the direction of Brown. So, you see? Somebody was like, oh no, hell no, we have to call 911. So they did, right? Your affiant asked about medications in the office, and she stated that everyone had access. She stated that she thought it was just in Brown's redacted in a drawer, not locked up. This included pain medication, opioid type, Valium, and weight loss medication. I asked, controlled substances? And she said yes. And everyone in this office had access to it, okay? She further expressed concern that there were no cameras at the building and stated that the building was still under construction. What? Oh my word. You know, with this in mind, when we saw the interview of his, I mean, he looked so like monotone. That could just be him. It could just be him. But he could also be quite numb from taking who knows what. If everybody in the office has like open drawer policy access to controlled substances and valium and weight loss medication and opioid type medications, like, oh my goodness. Thank you so much, Lissy Love. Helen says it's all a bit creepy to me, all very Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, right? And if you look at this incident, it's already scary enough. But then when you hear from other patients where he like, when they came in for a brow lift and he gave them a full, I think it was called a Brazilian butt lift, something like that, a full butt lift, or he's like completely botching, stitching them back up and things like that. He sounds very sadistic or, I don't know, very high or something. I don't even know. A mixture of both of those things. So they say, okay, 10 to 15 minutes, and we were here where there's no cameras at the building either. It's his practice. Why are there no cameras, right? Well, we know why now. But okay, and stated the building was still under construction. Interesting. Your affiant then spoke to another employee, which was also recorded. This employee noted many of the same details as the first employee, however, clarified that the pills that were taken were pre-op medications, which were, I don't know if you say versed, or is it like Versed? Versed, tramadol, gabapentin, or gabapentin, maybe Valium, and antibiotics. So it's like a little cocktail of pre-op medications. She believed these medications were taken at about 1 p.m. So this is still on November 21st of 2023. The pills were taken at about 1 p.m. and the procedure began around 2 p.m. This employee stated that after the first set of procedures, lower abdomen, the victim took a break and was up and walking around. Then at around 3:30 p.m., they began the next procedures. So many procedures on one day. Brown was injecting local anesthetic into her lips and her eyes. Your affiant asked what she was being injected with, and she stated typically it was lidocaine, epi, sodium bicarb mixed with LRS. The purpose of this was to numb the area, but it is not straight lidocaine and not as potent. This mixture was used for the first procedure, the one he asked her to prepare. It was the correct mixture for the first procedure. And then she was up and walking around. And then it's like, right, now we're going in for the next procedures, right? Okay. The mixture was used for the first procedure. However, for the second round of procedures, Brown used xylocaine mixed with epi in her lips, around her ear and eyes, which she stated went fine. She continued stating that he started with her left eye and said Hilary complained that she started seeing orange, also not being able to see. But when he opened her eyes, she was able to see, and added that when the injections happen, it kind of swells up. Your affiant asked if it was common for people to express vision concerns, other patients. She stated that Brown always tells patients to tell him if they see stars or have vision complaints, to let him know since he's close to the eye, but she had never heard anyone complain before. Brown then began to inject the victim's right eye. And this is when she started to seize. This employee was asked about life-saving measures, and she stated she performed CPR. So this guy is saying like, we called 911 and we performed CPR. No, he didn't. We didn't. Concerned staff did, and he was actually trying to block them from doing it, you know. So this one performed CPR. I asked about life-saving medical supplies, possibly a crash cart, but she did not remember anything like that. This employee expressed the same lack of equipment in the office and delay in calling 911. Yeah, Stefan says, that sounds scary. It sounds so scary. And Joanna says, what a horror show. It really is, right? Your affiant then spoke to a third employee, which was also recorded. She stated that the victim had lay down on the bed. However, she got back up and went into Brown's, office or room. I don't know why they redact that. Brown's what? Redacted because she had not been marked up. She said it only takes 5 minutes. but it was around 30 minutes. Oh my word. What was he doing in that time? If it normally takes 5, what was happening in those 30 then? When the victim came back to the room, the victim then took another dose of Versed. She stated the same about the bags of local anesthetic, including the victim preparing the bags herself, and that at one point they'd run out. After running out, Brown asked her to get more lidocaine. She stated they were out of lidocaine and had been. She stated that she had told him that. Brown and the victim both instructed her to get xylocaine. She described it as a small bottle that already contains epi. Brown then instructed her to get pliers and pull the whole top off the vial. This is so scary. Oh my word. And imagine being like coerced into doing this because he's the doctor, it's his practice, and he's saying, go and get this and do that and don't call 911 eventually, you know what I mean? So, but here he says, they've run out of the lidocaine, so just go get some xylocaine. She gets the little small bottles. He says, get pliers and pull the whole top off the vial instead of pulling it from the bottle with a needle. And she was instructed to pour 2 whole vials into a sterile bowl. Brown then injected her with that. She stated that it didn't have any temescent in it, so it wasn't diluted any. She did know that. She stated the injections were done near Hilary's eyes, and she was reporting blurry vision, and soon after is when she began to have seizures. Wow. She continued and stated there was not a crash cart in the room, and there should have been. She further explained that you should always have one if you're cutting open bodies. I asked if the office had an AED, and she stated, I don't think we did. If we did, it was back in the shed somewhere. She further alluded to as far as life-saving devices and stated that they did not have anything. She again expressed the need to call 911 sooner and was instructed to wait to call. She stated that she made the decision to call 911, not Brown. Good for her. We talked about the security of the medication in the office. She stated the medication in the office was just a cabinet in the office, and as far as inventory, it was off the top of the victim and Brown's head. This included all the medication the office used to include controlled substances. Wow. Okay. I think this chat is just glitching a little bit here. Let me just see. Rob, thank you so much. You said, thank you for covering this case, G. Thank you so much, Rob, for the sticker. All right. Yeah. Jennifer Fox said, this is actually sickening. It like reminds me of, I don't know, he's like a scorpion, you know? You know what I mean? Like it just feels very, I don't know, terrible. Susie Fox said, xylocaine is used as a spray to assert numbness when an epidural is being used, not as an injectable substance in any area I've ever worked. So scary. And he's just like, okay, 2 vials, pliers, rip the tops off, put them in a bowl, and let's just put that directly in his wife's face. What? Yeah, and 877 Swiss Miss says, all his education to act or decide like this? What the? Okay, so your affiant then conducted interviews with both medical doctors who cared for the victim while at the emergency room and in the intensive care unit. Both doctors confirmed that they were seeing the victim and attempting to treat her for lidocaine toxicity. They advised that early into their care, they suspected the victim would not survive. Once further medical evaluations were completed, they confirmed that outcome and kept the victim on life support systems for preservation of organs. Shame. Your affiant later learned that this was not the first incident, and here we go. This was not the first incident where Brown had over-medicated the victim for surgery, his wife, and had difficulty waking her up. Oh my word. Phoebe says it all seems very purposeful to me. Rando from Iowa says so many violations, my eye is twitching. Former plastic surgeon nurse here. Thank you. Thank you for being a member for 19 months, and I can only imagine. I mean, for me, it's like, it's really shocking. I can't imagine for, doctors, plastic surgeons, nurses, everyone with experience with this, like how shocking this must really be, right? So this was not the first time that he had over-medicated the victim for surgery and had difficulty waking her up. During an interview with a former employee, your affiant was told that one day in January of 2023, she was a witness to a procedure where the victim was receiving a brow lift. She was instructed to give the victim Versed, which she believed it was 4 milligrams. This would have been the typical dose. She was still awake, and then Brown and the victim both advised to give her, the victim, more, which she did. She stated she may have given a 3rd dose, but she was not completely sure. After this, she was out of the room and then could hear Brown yelling the victim's name in an attempt to wake her up. This was not normal, which concerned her, and she responded to the room. She and another tech shared a concerned look, but was told it was okay by Brown. He's like, don't worry, it's okay. So she left the room. However, after walking out of the room, it occurred again during the same procedure. This time, Brown had more urgency in his voice as he was having difficulties waking her up. This tech further added that in another surgical environment which she had worked in, she had never seen someone having difficulties in being woken up like that day. Your affiant, after learning this, spoke to another tech who was also present during this procedure. That tech was also a former employee who expressed that she left bruises after this incident due to concerns of a neglectful practice. Left the business. Did I say bruises? I feel like I said bruises. Let's do that sentence one more time. Your affiant, after learning this, spoke to the other tech who was also present during this procedure. This must give them nightmares now, right? That tech was also a former employee who expressed that she left the business after this incident due to concerns of neglectful practice. Right? She corroborated the same series of events and stated that there were certain amounts of drugs patients were supposed to take for procedures based upon weight. She said that Brown referred to the victim as his little alien and intentionally gave the victim higher doses of medication. So Dr. Ben Brown, now stripped of his license, previously just had to be under supervision. I think now the practice is permanently closed. He referred to his wife as his little alien and intentionally gave the victim higher doses of medications. Oh my. Your affiant concluded that these interviews, after these interviews, a common concern over actions or inactions by Brown, this information was further brought to the attention of District 1 Medical Examiner's Office. Okay, and the rest is just like redacted, as you can see. They said all these witness interviews were submitted as evidence. Subpoenaed copies of the DOH report and a copy of the medical examiner's report was also obtained as evidence. In conclusion, witness interviews all corroborated that when the victim began to show signs of overdose, Brown continued injecting unknown amounts of lidocaine and did not stop until the victim went into a seizure and cardiac arrest. When this occurred, Brown delayed the reporting of the incident to 911 and used his status as a doctor to do so when it's required by law. Brown showed a history of allowing unsafe practice to occur and took no precautions for the well-being of human life, even after an incident where he could not wake the victim during a procedure in January of 2023. Laura says he used to work on kids. Scary, right? Because he told us his whole resume in that video. Based upon these circumstances, your affiant has probable cause to believe that Benjamin Jacob Brown, having culpable negligence, did violate the FSS 782071 manslaughter by culpable negligence and did, through said culpable negligence, cause the killing of a human being, Hilary Ellington Brown. Oh my goodness. Okay, so this was he was arrested finally on the 17th of June of 2024, which really was just a few days ago. Last week is when he was arrested, which took quite some time, huh? But they were very busy doing those, the autopsy and the toxicology reports and looking into all of it, interviewing people and all of that. As we know, these things take time, right? I just want to make sure we don't miss anything. I know it's all very redacted. As we can see there, pretrial release application. Benjamin Brown, I'm already rolling my eyes. I'm like, oh my word. He got a $50,000 bond and he's out. He's out on bond. Yeah, they got to check this guy. I think he's a flight risk, in my opinion. Obviously, I mean, he's going to think about that type of a person being like, oh, okay, I'll just be a trial. And I mean, I don't know how much time he would serve for something like this, but I think it could be a long time. Killing human other than by murder or homicide. I think many of us disagree. Many of us disagree there. Okay, so we've looked at this one. Okay, some of them might be little bits of repeats, but again, just like yesterday's, we want to see them all so that we get all the clips of what the sheriff is saying and what her dad was saying and all of that, right? Okay, so here we go.
Today issued an immediate restriction to Gulf Breeze plastic surgeon Dr. Ben Brown's medical license after numerous complaints about his practice. The Santa Rosa County Sheriff's Office is investigating the death of Brown's wife.
This was from a month ago, okay? This was before his arrest. This clip here.
Hilary, who died less than a week after a procedure at Brown's office in November last year. Now, the allegations include malpractice and disregard for his patients, including his late wife.
Tanner Stewart has been combing through the report, and he joins us now to explain what else is in it.
And Sue, Bob, it's a 30-page report that contains allegations spanning roughly 2 years, beginning with a staff member who says Dr. Ben Brown's practice, Restore Plastic Surgery, began to decline around 2021. Dr. Ben Brown's medical license.
Oh, there he is as well. There's a couple of videos of him online there. Susie Foxy says, was this guy still carrying on procedures after his wife's death until he was arrested? Apparently he was he was allowed to if he was supervised at a hospital. How many he actually carried out? I don't know. By the way, the document they're referring to is the one that we just read.
Was immediately restricted by the state health department this week. This comes after numerous violations, including delegating more and more work to his assistants and his unlicensed wife, Hilary Brown. The emergency order was signed by Florida Surgeon General Joseph Ladapo. In the report, witnesses described conditions in the clinic as dirty, poorly maintained, and tumultuous. Witnesses also reported seeing staff members take controlled substances from unlocked cabinets to, quote, take the edge off. Brown's also accused of performing several unauthorized procedures. According to the report, at least 2 patients were given a Brazilian butt lift that both say they never wanted. One patient said,
Again, there it is. This is from the other document, which is very, very lengthy. So we're not going to go through that right now. But it's about these other patients saying they went for like a brow lift and they came out with a Brazilian butt lift. That's not what they wanted. They're like, what the hell is going on here?
Says they experienced severe pain, blurred vision, and swelling after waking up to learn they'd undergone more than they planned for. Another described her experience as pure torture. The report further shows Brown advised his wife, Hilary, who was not a licensed medical professional, to give injections to patients, even performing laser treatments. Brown's clinic came to a halt shortly after November 21st of last year, when his wife Hilary was scheduled to undergo a number of procedures, including liposuction, lip injections, and ear adjustments. The report states Hilary prepared her own IV bags with lidocaine. Shortly after, the report states Hilary ingested a handful of multicolored pills, including Valium. While Dr. Brown documented his wife took Valium, Tramadol, Zofran, and other substances, the handful of pills is not documented. The report says after she took the pills, Dr. Brown's wife went to another patient's room and removed their stitches. The facility closed to the public during Hilary's procedure. The Department of Health found Hilary even assisted in her own procedure.
Pause. I forgot about that part. The facility was closed to the public. There's another red flag. During Hilary's procedure. Huh? Oh, the building's under construction. There's no cameras. No public allowed. No one else allowed. Just his special little alien, as he said. What? Oh, that is huge. Okay. Did you hear that? I forgot about that. That's in the other document. Listen to this.
The pills, Dr. Brown's wife went to another patient's room and removed their stitches. The facility closed to the public during Hilary's procedure. The Department of Health found Hilary even assisted in her own procedure by suturing the skin back together. After this, the report finds Hilary became restless and began twitching. Brown then performed liposuction and the twitching worsened. She stated her vision started to blur and she was seeing orange. The Department of Health report says Brown continued injecting lidocaine and xylocaine in Hilary's face. Soon after, it says she became unresponsive and began to have a seizure. The health department investigation reveals a medical assistant asked Brown multiple times if they should call 911, to which he replied no or wait. The call to 911 was eventually made and Hilary was taken to the hospital, according to the report. We obtained a copy of the dispatched call.
A 32-year-old female was undergoing a procedure for a lipo fat transfer from cardiac arrest.
The report shows Hilary never regained consciousness and died a week later. State Surgeon General Dr. Joseph Ladapo says Brown used poor judgment and cannot be trusted, finding his treatment on his wife was careless and haphazard. The restriction on his license requires
just a little bit, hey?
Him to only perform procedures in a state-regulated facility, which his practice, Restore Plastic Surgery, is not. The Department of Health says a disciplinary proceeding will be held soon. Over the years, WEAR News has spoken with
That's him, by the way. These are all images of him now.
Dr. Brown on multiple occasions, the last time less than a year before his clinic closed, when he spoke on the dangers of botched plastic surgery.
And for some reason, they've muted this part. Look. We can't hear what he's saying.
The Santa Rosa County Sheriff's Office opened an investigation into the death of Brown's wife, Hilary, last year. No one was available to speak on camera since the investigation.
Don't worry, everyone. He's been arrested. Okay, now let me show you this quickly, and then we're going to look at more clips. So the Restore Plastic Surgery page is still up. And on October 28th of 2023, this is Hilary Dr. Brown's ass. Like assistant, but I don't know. I'm just saying, assistant, one would think someone like that would have some sarcastic humor. I don't know him, I'm just saying. She said, so my wonderful husband bought me this coat. He allegedly typed assistant. She says typed assistant, but clearly the maximum character count was exceeded. Thanks so much, Dr. Brown. Wow, okay, so if we're on Facebook here, here's a picture of her as well. November 7th, they say 80% of success is showing up, so here I am. Who all is coming to Dice Sport tomorrow? And then the rest is probably, I don't know what we could show in there from plastic surgery. New coffee mug from my beautiful wife, she gets me, is what he wrote on October 24th of 2023, and it says, freak in the sheets, which is like Excel spreadsheet. Okay. Let me just quickly, I just want to see all of this. Hold on. Yeah, no, we can't be showing that. I'm glad I checked. But the page is still there. It's called Restore Plastic Surgery. So if you do want to go check it out on Facebook, I'll link the page for you. But yeah, I can't be showing any of that right now. Okay, so now let's go to the next one. We've seen the clip of him, of course. Here we go.
Now charged in connection to the death of his own wife. Dr. Ben Brown turned himself into the Santa Rosa County Sheriff's Office. He was booked just before 8 this morning. He's charged with
So for those who missed it, he was arrested last week and he turned himself in, which I think would be at his lawyer's advice, right? Like, just turn yourself in. It's the best you could do for your case right now. Court TV says, hello, chat and mods. Hello, Court TV. Pleasant day to you. For me, it's 10:30 p.m. I'm sure wherever you are, it could be like afternoon, right? Happy afternoon to you. Thank you for being here with us.
Second-degree felony homicide, manslaughter by culpable negligence. The Sheriff's Office sharing this video showing Dr. Brown being led through the office in handcuffs. His wife's death has been under investigation by the Major Crimes Unit in Santa Rosa County since last November. That's when Hilary Brown started seizing while she was undergoing several procedures. Her husband, the doctor performing those surgeries. Sade Ray joins us live outside the Santa Rosa County Sheriff's Office. Sade, Dr. Ben Brown made his first appearance in court this afternoon.
Quick pause. Court TV also said the fact that she had to prepare her own IV bag and allegedly helped suture herself. She had to stitch herself up, allegedly. Is what some of those other documents say. What? It's almost like, he was preparing for the unlikely event that he'd be arrested and they'd be like, I'm just going to blame her for everything. Like, she prepared the bags herself. She took the pills herself, but she also stitched herself up. I think he's going to blame her. I think if that trial is streamed, which it probably will be, whenever it is, it's Florida, I think we can see a lot of victim blaming. I hope not, but it seems like, oh dear, that's probably the route that he's going to go. Okay, so let's just quickly have a listen here.
Karis, he was in court in his street clothes. He's now in jail tonight on a $50,000 bond. The newest report from the Sheriff's Office indicates Hilary Brown was undergoing several surgeries, including sky revision, liposuction, eye adjustments, and lip injections when something went wrong. The report says employees told investigators there was no emergency equipment in the surgery room. In the report, employees said she was alert and conscious during the first 2 procedures. Sheriff Johnson says Dr. Brown ran out of lidocaine. He says issues started when the doctor administered other medicines.
He ran out of lidocaine in one, IV bag, and he ran out of it and then mixed some other stuff in a bowl and then pulled it out with a syringe and then injected her with it. And then she began to seize, and then the real problem was she began to seize, and then the nurses in the room wanted to call 911, and he said, no, we'll handle it. And obviously they did not handle it, and she ended up passing away.
The judge set the court date.
Okay, so we've seen that one, and now we go to this one. I think we've seen this one, have we? Okay, no. There's different clips. There's some of them are same little clips in between, but then they've got little details that are new. That's why I want to show you all of them.
That's a Gulf Breeze plastic surgeon who is now charged for the death of his wife. It's Dr. Ben Brown. He surrendered to the Santa Rosa County Sheriff's Office this morning, booked just before 8 a.m. He's charged with second-degree felony homicide, specifically manslaughter by culpable negligence, it's called. Brown posted his bond and was released this afternoon. His wife, Hilary Brown, went into a seizure while undergoing several procedures at the same time performed by Ben Brown. WEAR Sade Ray spoke with the sheriff today about the events that led to the death of Hilary Brown and why they resulted in charges.
In November last year, someone at Restore Plastic Surgery in Gulf Breeze called 911.
A 32-year-old female was undergoing a procedure for a lipo fat transfer from cardiac arrest.
The Santa Rosa County Sheriff's Office confirms that woman was Hilary Brown. Sheriff Bob Johnson says she was undergoing several surgeries at the same time. The surgeon was her husband, Dr. Ben Brown.
He's performing surgery on his wife, which is, it's not a violation of Florida law, but it's still, the medical association looks down on that.
See there, he says it's not a violation of Florida law, but the medical association looks down on that. So it's like frowned upon. Wow, okay, well, Dr. Ben Brown seems to have taken advantage of that.
Received the newest report from the Sheriff's Office after Dr. Brown turned himself in on Monday. It indicates Hilary Brown was undergoing scar revision, liposuction, eye adjustments, and lip injections when something went wrong.
It was ear adjustments. Good catch from the one earlier. Where's there, Erin? She said eye adjustment. It's ear adjustments, which is what the documents say, indeed.
The report, employees said she was alert and conscious during the first two procedures. But Sheriff Johnson says Dr. Brown ran out of lidocaine, a local anesthetic.
In one IV bag, and he ran out of it and then mixed some other stuff in a bowl and then pulled it out with a syringe and then injected her with it.
The arrest report says Hilary Brown claimed her vision was getting blurry and her face was puffy, but Dr. Brown continued.
And then she began to seize, and then the real problem was she began to seize, and then the nurses in the room wanted to call 911, and he said, no, we'll handle it, and obviously they did not handle it, and she ended up passing away.
Again, there's some repeats here, but we want to hear all the things because each little clip has, some new information. Health, Wealth, and Hope says, how many kids do they have? He's got 2 sons from a previous marriage, and she has three children between the age of 4 and 8 from a previous marriage, and those 3 children are with their father. So I'm not too sure where his 2 children are right now, but he's out on bond. Don't know if they are with his ex-wife or if he gets to see them. I have no idea. But yes, also, Lissy Love said, my best advice, being a survivor of a serious malpractice with plastic surgery, is do your research. And if your surgeon is running hours behind on your surgery and seems rushed, delay. Is that a red flag? Okay, wait, do your research. And if your surgeon is running hours behind on your surgery and seems rushed, if your surgeon seems rushed, yeah, okay. No one wants a rush, like, oh, crap, now I'm behind. Let's quickly catch up. No. No one wants that. Okay, good point.
The sheriff says it took months to charge the Gulf Breeze doctor because the toxicology results took a long time.
I mean, our detectives are trained in a lot of things, but medical practices they're not trained in. So not only did they have to get the probable cause together, they had to present that not only to the state attorney, but also to a physician like Dr. Oleski at the medical examiner and say, is this common practice? Is this normal? Is this not normal?
I reached out to Hilary Brown's dad, Marty Ellington. He sent us a statement saying he was happy about the arrest. Ellington said it was a gut punch to hear Dr. Brown posted a $50,000 bond and it was released from jail. He says Hilary was a beautiful soul and the family prays for a larger victory. In Santa Rosa.
Can you believe, shame, man, that her dad has to now deal with, like, wait, what? So they charged him, but he's already out on a $50,000 bond. That must be so difficult, described as a gut punch there. So there are clips of him as well. Let's look at this one, and then we've got 2 more because the dad is also, he speaks to the media.
Surgeon charged in his own wife's death after she went into cardiac arrest on his operating table. State health officials alleging he allowed her to assist in her own procedure and waited up to 20 minutes to call 911 after she started seizing.
Do you need abdominal liposuction or a tummy tuck?
Tonight, this Florida plastic surgeon facing a homicide charge after his wife went into cardiac arrest on his own operating table.
Caller reported a 32-year-old female was undergoing a procedure for a lipo fat transfer.
Dr. Ben Brown arrested by the Santa Rosa County Sheriff's Office for manslaughter by culpable negligence for the November 2023 death of his wife, Hilary. An investigation by Florida's Department of Health found that on the day of her operations, her scar revision, liposuction, and lip injection procedures, Hilary Brown prepared her own IV bags and took a handful of pills, including Valium, all without training or supervision. During the operation, her husband injected her with a concentration of the anesthetic lidocaine. Shortly after, Hilary reportedly told her husband her vision started to blur and that she saw orange. After another injection, she became unresponsive and began to have a seizure. Dr. Brown's assistants reportedly asked if they should call 911, and Dr. Brown said no repeatedly and waited 10 to 20 minutes to begin CPR, according to the report. Eventually, Dr. Brown instructed an assistant to call 911, and Hilary was taken to a nearby hospital where she died on life support days later. An attorney and legal analyst we spoke to says the state will need to make the case Dr. Brown's behavior amounted to more than malpractice.
I do think that this case is important in showing the difference between regular malpractice cases and homicide cases or manslaughter cases where a doctor so significantly deviates from the standard protocols that it's more than ordinary negligence. It is a true reckless disregard for human life.
The Department of
And not just that one time. Another time with his wife when she couldn't wake up, other patients coming forward. So if anyone's watching and you were a patient of this guy, Dr. Ben Brown in Pensacola, Florida, from Restore Plastic Surgery was his practice, and you had a bad experience, please do tell the police about it. It will help the prosecution build their case because they need that right now. You know, they need as much information as possible.
Health highlighting patterns in Dr. Brown's behavior, finding that he let Hilary perform medical tasks, including laser treatment and injections on patients. An attorney representing Dr. Brown, who is out on bond, telling NBC News, quote, Dr. Brown intends to plead not guilty and vigorously fight the allegations against him in court.
Of course he will. Right? Of course he's going to do that. So, yes, he also asked her to inject other patients. He asked Hilary to stitch herself up, to perform certain things, prepare certain things, but she was not licensed, right? That's why I'm saying I think that his defense will want to blame her a lot. I think that's going to be, you know, like we see like Jesse Krzyzewski's trial, some of them. But in this case, they'll be like, well, she was practically working this. She was working on other patients. Like, no, but it really, as Doe Man said, good luck blaming her. She was unlicensed. The onus would fall on him. It really should. I just can't imagine. I can foresee his defense going that way, right? Aaron says, significant deviation, all right? Yeah, significant. Okay, so did we look at what are we doing here? Hold on. Oh, this one we've seen. I just want to see. Yeah, no, sorry, this one we've seen. And then Hilary Brown's father speaks. Yeah, okay.
Restriction against Gulf Breeze surgeon Ben Brown's medical license. Brown is accused of malpractice and disregard for his patients, including his wife Hilary. She died less than a week after a procedure at Brown's office in November. The Santa Rosa County Sheriff's Office still investigating her death, and today we're hearing from her father, Marty Ellington, for the first time.
And Tanner Stewart joins us. Now, Tanner, you spoke with Ellington today on his family's efforts to ensure that others are not put in a similar situation.
I did. So Marty Ellington says his daughter's relationship with Dr. Ben Brown lasted only a few short years. He says the recent report from the Department of Health is a step in the right direction, but he wants more closure.
Until you walk those shoes, it's a hollowness, it's a pain that you can't fix. It doesn't go away.
Marty Ellington says his daughter Hilary Brown was married to Dr. Ben Brown for less than 2 years. I'm told the couple didn't know each other long before their marriage. Ellington says the relationship seemed normal at first.
He met her with open arms. He was seemed to just care a lot about the kids. And so we thought that by that she was in good hands.
After a short while, Ellington says he and his wife began to raise suspicion about the couple's stability.
The hostility around there, I mean, it was just constant yelling, cussing. it was just a real volatile type situation.
It wasn't until Hilary's death in November of last year when Ellington says the pain for his family hit the hardest. This 30-page report from the Florida Surgeon General finds Dr. Ben Brown didn't correctly log his wife's medication, performed haphazardly during her operation, and failed to alert EMS in a timely fashion. Hilary was on life support for 7 days after having a seizure and going unconscious. She would remain that way until she died.
When we got to the ICU and walked in, it was the most horrifying thing I've ever seen in my life. That's my daughter laying there lifeless. Tubes, wires everywhere. Her eyes partially open, just in a glazed stare. This is my daughter, Tanner. This is all I got to remember by.
While on life support, Marty Ellington says family was gathered around her the week leading up to her death, along with her husband. Ellington says he was shocked to hear very little from the surgeon and son-in-law who'd last operated on his daughter.
I gave him all the opportunity. For 7 days, I sit in a hospital room, watch my daughter die. I watch her brain swell. I watch her take her last breath. And we're sitting in the same room together. There was a lot of conversation there, a lot of opportunity to come clean and just say, I screwed up. I never got that.
Ellington got more answers this month after the...
That is quite rough. Sitting in that intensive care unit, watching his daughter die. And there is Dr. Ben Brown, now just known as Ben. I don't know what to call him. Anyway, he's not a doctor anymore. But he's just sitting there and there's no explanation, there's no apology, there's just nothing. Oh my.
State released its findings. In the report, disturbing claims go beyond Brown's actions. It states Hilary took a handful of pills before receiving additional anesthesia from Dr. Brown. It also states Hilary performed procedures she wasn't licensed for. Marty Ellington acknowledged his daughter may have taken too much medication, but says the responsibility lies with Dr. Brown.
With her taking a handful of pills, we have to put something in a story, and it sounds good, but she wouldn't be taking anything that would harm her. If anything, she was taking a pre-surgical cocktail, maybe that she was programmed to give everybody. That's my take on it. Whether it's true or not, nobody knows. Whether she had the authority to by the state or what, I don't really think that played into it. It should have. She should have realized that my limit is here. Right or wrong, she was following what she was told to do.
This week, the family of Dr. Ben Brown issued a statement saying these accusations are inaccurate and misleading.
Okay, so Dr. Ben Brown's family has made a statement, which reminds me a little bit of yesterday's case. If you didn't see it, go check that out. The one that says on the thumbnail, fled to Mexico, ? Tiff Knox says, has his license been pulled then? Well, initially, after his wife died, it's not suspended. They put him under supervision. So he was only allowed to perform at a hospital and only under supervision. But now, since these new charges, which is from, last week, there's so many other documents that have come out and there's so many malpractice lawsuits and all sorts of things. So I actually don't have confirmation that his license has been pulled, but I can only assume with this type of charge that he can no longer practice. So they say this is an ongoing investigation, therefore we cannot comment on specific details. However, this public order was issued without Dr. Brown having any opportunity to dispute the allegations against him through any hearing process. These accusations are inaccurate and misleading, and Dr. Brown looks forward to the opportunity to defend himself and present the actual facts through a hearing process in the future. Dr. Brown continues to live an endless nightmare without his wife, Hilary, by his side, and these inaccurate allegations only further deepen the immense pain. Yeah, restricted there. Thank you. Restricted is the word I'm looking for. Thank you, Alexandra.
They say Brown looks forward to defending himself in the case. The Ellington family is now working with state legislators to develop Hilary's law. It would prohibit physicians from operating on their own families to avoid any emotional decisions that could be made during procedures. Representatives Michelle Salzman and Alex Andrade both tell me they're working with agencies to implement better laws for situations like this. You can read their statements as well as Ben Brown's family's full statement on our website. In the studio, I'm Tanner Stewart.
So Hilary's law is something that they're working on so that this can't happen. Although it could happen to a stranger. Lots of patients experience very bad things with this Dr. Ben Brown, but yeah, more than frowned upon then to operate on one's own wife or family member, right? Debs in Space says, the baby boy will probably look forward to exonerating himself. Yeah, it sounds about right. So then I just have this one. Actually, there's a few more. I've always got lots of things to show you. So here they said, he's Frankenstein surgeon. What? Like these people, like listen how people describe him. He's Frankenstein surgeon. Doctor charged with killing his wife while giving her lipo is a maniac and tyrant, patients warn, as they reveal their chilling operating table stories. Former patients of a Florida plastic surgeon charged with killing his wife on the operating table have warned he was a maniac who left them traumatized. Okay. Dr. Ben Brown, 40, was charged this week with second-degree felony homicide. I thought he was 41. Okay, second-degree felony homicide, manslaughter by culpable negligence over his wife, Hilary Brown's death in November of 2023 while he was operating on her. He is accused of overusing medication, causing his wife to go into cardiac arrest, with former patient Sylvie Hazen telling the Daily Mail that her own procedure with the award-winning surgeon left her terrified. Okay, I have never experienced something more medically traumatic than that procedure, she said of her breast implant surgery last year. He's like a Frankenstein. Hazen and a former staffer at Brown's clinic also revealed that Hilary, who underwent a dramatic physical transformation after meeting Brown and becoming obsessed with surgeries, would pose as a nurse despite having no medical training. Dr. Brown's clinic, Restore Plastic Surgery, did not immediately respond to a request for comment when contacted by the Daily Mail. This is Sylvie Hazen that said these things. He's like a Frankenstein, right? After going to the surgeon in February of 2023 for breast augmentation, Hazen said that her ordeal with Brown, who she described as having a manic energy, began when he messed up her initial surgery. Hazen said that she was stunned when she returned to find Hilary posing as a medic at Restore Plastic Surgery and claimed that she performed a minor procedure on her by draining a seroma despite having no medical training. She seemed like the office manager, Hazen said. I trusted that she had medical qualifications. I mean, you would if someone is in scrubs. Hilary was said to have become hooked on plastic surgeries around the same time that she married Dr. Brown 2 years ago, and her social media evidences her changing appearance over that time. Okay. Oh, there he is. Look, he's a winner. Not. I just want to see if I'm missing anything. Just hold on 1 second. Okay, now I'm still good. Oh, dear. They say Brown, one of the best-known plastic surgeons in Florida's Gulf, married Hilary around 2 years ago. However, her father speculated she only stayed with him because of her easy access to plastic surgery procedures. Hazen claimed that she had to return to Brown's clinic for repeat correctional procedures after the first augmentation surgery left her with several side effects, including issues with open wounds and a large scar wrapping from her armpit to under her rib cage. She alleged her bizarre experience with Brown also saw her plied with lidocaine and the anesthetic Versed, which left her very loopy in her subsequent surgeries. Hazen said the Brown's clinic was like something out of a third world country. Listen here, don't you talk about South Africa like that. Okay, it was like something out of a third world country and appeared unsanitary despite his award-winning reputation. It sounds scary. After being forced to undergo several reconstructive surgeries, including a 4-hour procedure in June to entirely remove her implants at a separate hospital, Hazen estimates the total cost of her surgeries and corrections had cost her well over $25,000. So this is an example of Hilary before, when I said she looked very different. She was very blonde and like she just looks like a different person, right? It's just like Hilary appeared to undergo a dramatic plastic surgery transformation in recent years, and her father recalled the question to her, why are you doing this? And it can become addictive, right? I know that people, once they start, oh my goodness. There's actually a YouTuber called Gabby Hanna. That's an interesting one. That's a whole case study in itself. But anyway, she said that she went for, I just watched one of her videos once, like a vlog. She said she went for like something with her lip or something. And then they say, but can't you just fix that and this and this? And we tweak that and tweak this. And she said, before you know it, you've been for like 20 freaking procedures. Because they also make you feel bad about yourself when you're there. Like, oh, so you don't want to change that. So you want one side of your face to be like droopy and the other not. You know what I mean? They'll say things a certain way to obviously market their services. And people get addicted to it. So, oh dear. Okay. Yeah, Hilary was only 33. So Brown is an award-winning plastic surgeon known throughout Florida's Gulf. However, some have alleged to Daily Mail that his late wife Hilary posed as a medic despite having no medical training, which again, I think the onus would fall on him. In his charging documents, it's claimed that Hilary was essentially acting as her own nurse in her final surgeries, including allegedly spiking her own IV bag while taking a handful of pills that included Valium. Dr. Brown even allowed Hilary to suture her own skin after initial procedure. Ew. Brown is believed to have operated on his wife a number of times following their marriage. Oh dear. Yeah, how many times did he operate on her? Hilary's father, Marty Ellington, has also speculated that the plastic surgeon was not following proper procedure when he operated on her. Ellington alleged that Brown admitted on the night of Hilary's death that his clinic was out of the medicine that they would usually use, so he used something different. The Pensacola News-Journal reported at the time. He also claimed there was no crash cart in the operating room with life-saving equipment such as oxygen and defibrillators. Similar allegations were echoed by a former nurse in Brown's clinic, Deborah Brown Guy, who told Daily Mail that she lasted just 3 weeks working with a surgeon after raising alarming complaints. I mean, doesn't he look like a happy chappy? Shame. When she died, Hilary is said to have spiked her own IV bag while taking a handful of pills that included Valium. Oh, she looks very different there. Guy, who had over 14 years of experience in the medical field, was hired in September of 2022 as a surgical assistant, but said claims she began complaining about the clinic almost immediately due to issues, including Brown allegedly performing complex surgeries in his office suite. There was no monitoring of patients, no blood pressure, no oxygen, basically no medical equipment to monitor or carefully control any kind of drug-induced patient, she claimed to Daily Mail. Guy claimed that she complained to Brown within days of starting work because it was a horrific situation, and claimed that she saw unlicensed employees mixing medications, that he was then injecting them into patients, despite no charting or monitoring of what was used. Guy left the clinic the same month that she started after writing a letter of concern to Brown because she could not stand to witness it anymore. The letter alleged inadequate staffing and equipment, biohazards including no proper disposal of medical waste, and improper monitoring of patients after surgery. So the letter of concern was September 27th of 2022 that says, Dear Dr. Ben Brown and Hilary Rogers Brown, I'm writing to you about my concerns at Restore Plastic Surgery. I appreciate you hiring me as your surgical technologist, but I feel that the office situation is impacting my ability to work effectively. When I was hired, I was aware that we'd be doing in-office surgical procedures. I believe these procedures would be within the guidelines of an office-based surgical center. Due to not having a CRNA or RN on staff, we should only be performing level 1 OBS procedures. Please see the attached standards of care for office surgery. Shame, she's like spelling it out for him. She's like, listen, bro, you are not following procedures, so let me just give you some bullet points of how it's supposed to be done. I like this lady. She said, I'm very concerned about patient safety, and she was right. Drug administration to patients, including narcotics, by non-licensed personnel. Monitoring of patients, blood pressure, pulse oximeter, heart rate, body temperatures, pregnancy tests before procedures. Ooh, even that. Inadequate staff to perform safe and sterile procedures. No timeouts, no surgical counts, no fluid on field, no proper charting, no scrub sink or surgical scrub in the facility, no assistance provided to the sterile members during the procedure. Biohazards. No proper disposal of medical waste and trash. No proper place or way to wash surgical equipment and instruments. That's why I say, guys, this is a rabbit hole, this case. And there's many more documents, as I say. There's a lot going on here. And like all the skeletons are falling out of his closet. Okay, improper monitoring of patients after surgical procedures. No recovery process. No discharge instructions discussed with person caring for the patient at home. No crash cart within reach of emergency. Fire hazards throughout the building. I have been a surgical technologist for 14 years. I have much experience and knowledge in the surgical environment, and I'm willing to share it with you and the staff. I've always respected and been respected while serving as part of a surgical team. I can't ignore my surgical conscience or willfully participate in procedures that I feel are unsafe for the patient and staff at Restore Plastic Surgery. I would like to meet with you or possibly have a staff meeting to address my concerns. I feel with a proper plan of patient care and adequate staffing that I can remain an employee at Restore Plastic Surgery. I look forward to hearing from you. If you do not deem it necessary, please accept this letter of concern as my formal resignation. Sincerely, Deborah Guy. Wow. What? Robin says, OMG, this guy, I went to him for a consultation. Scary. Tell us more, Robin. Tell us more. If anyone wants to email me anything, any information like this, like a story of like maybe you went there and you have an experience to share, my email is grizzlytruecrime@gmail.com. If you don't know where to go, it's on my website as well, grizzlytruecrime.com. You can go to the contact me page, and I keep all my sources anonymous. So, oh my goodness. So I'm assuming that they did not pay attention to that letter, that he's just like, okay, bye. Wow. So here he is as well with Hilary. So they said Brown is believed to have carried out a number of surgeries on his wife, and a former staffer claimed that patients would come in and they would say they needed this or that, and Hilary would decide that she needed it too. Guy also claimed the surgery ran on the married life between Ben and Hilary, which she described as very touchy-feely. She said Hilary acted as the manager of the clinic and would get jealous if Ben went to see a patient without her. Guy added she would kind of see herself as the savior to come in and save the darker Ben Brown. Ooh, that's so scary, right? The darker Ben Brown, who's that? Okay, as soon as things kind of started to fall apart, or maybe his mental state started to go awry, she could get him back up. Okay, he did a lot of surgical procedures on her. Patients would come in and they would say they needed this or that, and she would decide she needed it too. Hazen said that given her own alleged experience with Brown, seeing the accusations that he over-medicated his wife forced her to recall her own ordeal. It's terrifying to think that this could have happened to anybody. Disgusted to think that this man was the #1 surgeon in the area, has all these good reviews. Right now, when I looked him up earlier, he had 1 5-star review. Okay. Is that going to be like a Christopher Lurker from the Daniel Howard trial? Is there going to be a best friend at his trial being like, yes, okay, I gave that review. Wow. Okay, so they say in a statement to Daily Mail, the family of Dr. Brown denied all allegations against him and said he'll be fighting the charges brought this week. Stop enabling these types. My word. She's like, that's it. Our boy would never do this. Okay, Ben, he's innocent till proven guilty, just saying. Ben continues to mourn the death of his loving wife, Hilary, and this arrest, which is completely without merit, only deepens his pain and grief. The statement read, all safety and medical protocols were strictly followed on the day of Hilary's passing. Are we eye rolling? Are you guys eye rolling with me? Ben, this is his family making these statements. Okay. They're defending him now. They say all safety and medical protocols were strictly followed. Really? Like using pliers to just like boop, pop open the, not lidocaine, the xylocaine? Right. Just to concentrate in a bowl, mix it up, and just inject her in her arms and face. That's normal? Normal, hey? Oh, wow. Okay, so they said Ben is a conscientious, dedicated, and incredibly talented surgeon. I think his patients beg to differ, but okay. And he's looking forward to presenting the actual facts in a court of law and clearing his name of this horrible accusation. Oh dear, the mama's clutching her pearls. How dare you accuse my boy of this? And I'm like, well, oh dear. Trial's going to be a shocker then for the family, right? Okay, I wanted to show you as well. Where's this one? Oh, this one. Okay. I've got so many things to show you today. It's very difficult to narrow down. How are we going to summarize all of this? Because it's too much. So they say grieving father says daughter planned to leave plastic surgeon, charging her death. He saw an opportunity. Ooh, that's like, oh dear. Okay, so the Florida plastic surgeon charged with the death of his wife intentionally let her die after injecting her with excessive painkillers during a cosmetic surgery, the victim's enraged father told Fox News Digital. Hilary Brown, 33, had confided to friends that she planned to leave Georgetown educated Dr. Ben Brown. See, there they say 41, okay, after the 1.5-year marriage began to crumble. Marty Ellington said. So she was telling friends that she was planning to leave him. Okay, so everybody needs to know what kind of character this guy is, the father contended. He's real suave and debonair. He's put on like he's the victim, but he's not. He's literally a Charles Manson. Whoa, people are saying like Frankenstein, Charles Manson, Jekyll and Hyde. Like, whoa, we've heard a lot of things here, huh? We've heard a lot of things, except of course his parents. He's just absolutely amazing. The Gulf Breeze physician turned himself in on Monday last week after a judge signed a warrant for his arrest, charging him with manslaughter, a second-degree felony that carries a potential life sentence if convicted. He was released on bail. Keep a close eye on him. Investigators found that the surgeon failed to call 911 for nearly 20 minutes after the victim began twitching, developed blurred vision, started seizing on the operating table. Hilary Brown had 3 kids from a prior marriage, was finally rushed to hospital on November 21st of 2023, where she entered a coma and died a week later. A medical examiner concluded the victim died from complications following lidocaine toxicity. Ellington said that he believes Brown saw a chance to end his wife's life amid the increasingly rancorous relationship and took it. I don't think it was premeditated, Ellington told Fox News Digital, but I will, to the end of my days, believe that he saw an opportunity. Because when she got to that point of lidocaine poisoning, he knew that he could. He knew how many minutes to delay and what the outcome would be. Well done to Fox News for also blurring the children's faces. Yes. I'm always so proud of media when they do that, because they should do that. It's better to do that. Protect the children. Brown's staffers told investigators that he resisted their pleas to call 911 as his wife convulsed on the table. The rest we know. They say Ellington, who lives in Houston, alleged that the surgeon's once thriving practice was on the brink of insolvency amid a slew of civil lawsuits and complaints from patients alleging shoddy work. So, we have his practice on the brink of insolvency. We have her wanting to leave him. Yeah, these are all, because I was thinking, what the hell would the motive be? Is it life insurance? Is there financial problems? Is he an abuser? Is she wanting to leave him? Well, things are starting to come out here, right? My voice is starting to go. Listen here, voice box. I haven't talked that long. So Brown's lawyer declined to comment. It's my policy not to discuss a pending case in the media, attorney Barry Barrett told Fox News Digital. His daughter planned to leave him after Christmas, Ellington said. And she died on November 21st. So a month before she was going to leave him, she's dead. On his operating table, with him injecting her face. You see what I'm saying? The heartbroken dad, that's her dad now, had long harbored misgivings about his son-in-law and was unnerved by how drastically Brown altered his daughter's appearance through constant cosmetic tinkering. One friend told him that the doctor was attempting to fashion her face to look like Megan Fox. Oh my word. Everything that he'd done made her look worse and worse from her natural beauty, he said, noting that the couple first met when she went to his office for a breast reduction. Ellington said that Brown was oddly composed and didn't shed a single tear during his wife's week in a coma. The father stopped taking Brown's calls soon after his daughter's death and was repulsed when a friend alerted him that the doctor was selling her ski boots on Facebook Marketplace. I did see that, actually. I think this is just taking us to Facebook Marketplace. But apparently, yes, he was selling her ski boots, saying, she doesn't need these anymore. After her death, oh my word. The physician wrote that he was unloading the items because his spouse no longer skied. I hope his life every day is as miserable as he's made ours, her father said. And my grandkids and my extended family, and all the other patients that he was so arrogant and egotistical that he didn't take safety precautions into mind. Wow. Here's Marty Ellington holding his daughter Hilary Brown, shame, as an infant. And then he holds her hand in the hospital after she slipped into a coma and died. Oh my goodness. The Florida Department of Health found that Brown had been negligent. The level of disregard Dr. Brown paid to patient safety, even when the patient was his wife, indicates that Dr. Brown is unwilling or incapable of providing the appropriate level of care to his future patients, the agency found. Brown, who graduated from Georgetown, he told us himself, he graduated from Georgetown University's Department of Plastic Surgery in 2015, was licensed to practice in several states, including Florida, Virginia, Washington, and Washington, D.C. Dr. Mark Siegel, clinical professor of medicine at NYU Langone Medical Center, said that Brown should never have operated on his wife or any relative. Okay. Whether this is illegal or not, it's immoral and unethical for any physician to perform procedures on a family member. And they would know that. So he's definitely not one for boundaries or respect of others, right? He's just like, oh, well, I'm just going to do that. He also ripped the surgeon's refusal to immediately call 911 as his wife writhed on the operating table. It's shocking that they would block an emergency response by not calling 911 immediately, especially during a seizure, he said. If someone has a seizure, you call 911. It's an extremely disturbing apparent deviation from standard of care. Okay, so, by the way, if Restore Plastic Surgery, oh goodness, I'm not going to link this. I'm not going to link it. I'm just going to show it. That they actually have a YouTube channel as well, which is where we watched the one video from. I'm just letting you know if you want to go and look at him some more, which I do not. I don't want to. But if you want to, he explains a whole bunch on here. You could see. Look at this guy go. I wonder when these videos will get pulled down. Maybe we should download them. Download them quickly. They're getting pulled down. Wow. Okay. So, yep. There he is. All him. It's all, obviously, it's his practice. I'm just saying, like, damn, bro. Tummy tuck. Arm lift recovery. He's doing all sorts here. Sure, dude. You've got a lot of videos, hey? He's posted a lot of videos. How many videos does this guy post? 340 videos. That's actually a lot. Anyway. Okay. Maybe you wanted to be a YouTuber as well. That's a lot of videos. Damn, bro. So, anyway, that's what I have for you today. As I say, we could sit here forever and go through other documents and all sorts of things. But I think we got the gist of the story now. The next time he's in court is July 11th, and I'll be really looking out for that because I hope that he's not on the run. I hope that he will be in court. He better behave himself. Don't you try to flee the country. Is he going to pull a Donna Adelson? Are we going to see that? I won't be surprised if they're like, Matt, he was a Ben Brown arrested at the airport. Don't you dare, bro. Where you going? Stefan said, oh my word, imagine watching the whole playlist. Oh no. Is it a challenge, Stefan? Is it a challenge? Am I taking one for the team? I don't think so. I'd like to decline that. Sure. I'm so sorry to Hilary's family for their loss. It's absolutely terrible. I will also link her obituary, which now I didn't get to read now. It's still, as I say, we could sit here all day. I will link that for you in the description box, okay? So I'll do timestamps and link the obituary for you and all the sources, everything we watched today. So thank you so much for being here. I'm going to keep you posted. I think this case is going to be one of those ongoing ones because I think more and more people will come forward. More and more skeletons will fall out of that closet, and eventually, hopefully, we'll see him in the courtroom at trial. So that'll be interesting. We'll have a fair trial, and we'll see what'll happen then. Peter Pronzo said, thank you, G. Enlightening, sad story. Yes, and I mean, what can we learn from this? There's so many things, right? So many things. Do your research. If you've got the gut feel that says, oh my word, that's not right. All of that, everything we learned about the equipment they should have in there. Ask Uncle Google lots of things before going to places like that, right? And let me just quickly read a comment that I missed. Flufflebun says, as a nurse, you don't want to work in a place that disregards basic patient safety. That's a good way to lose your nursing license. That's true as well, right? And Mindfully Doll said he put his stuff up for sale on Facebook Marketplace before she even passed. She was in the ICU and he said he was selling his wife's ski boots. Yes, we just saw that as well, which is just... Wow, a lot of red flags. Lot of red flags with this one. So, thank you, everyone. Wait, let me just see. How long did we go now? Because it felt long. And I'm just like trying to fit everything. Yeah, we almost at 2 hours. Oh, we had 2 hours almost. Thank you so much for being here, especially if you're here from the beginning to the end. Oh, my goodness. Thank you to all the replay watchers that made it to the end as well. If you are one of those replay watchers that watch from the beginning to now, let me know in the comments. I always like seeing those. And I will see you again very soon. Let me know in the comments, too, if you want me to continue digging things up in this case, to continue to cover it, all of that. All right, everyone. Thank you so much. I'll see you soon. Stay safe.